am Jennifer Quick with Soul Clarity Coaching. Are you tired of feeling tired, exhausted, achy, headaches, unable to complete a thought, troubles having problem-solving abilities? Are you sick and tired of hearing about the solar flares being the cause of it all? I kind of am. So in this episode, we're going to look into what is it with the solar flares? Why are they affecting us so much? What's the big deal? And little information about why all of a sudden there's so many solar flares. Never used to be a thing, and now it's a huge thing. Anyhow, I'm Jennifer Quick, Soul Clarity Coaching. And please subscribe to my channel, like this video, share it with your friends, help me get my word out. I am here to help you navigate your way into empowering yourself in a whole new world that's emerging. So let's get started. So Happy New Year. I want to say that first. Happy New Year. I hope you enjoyed the holidays. I hope you had a chance to recuperate and bond with your family. And now you're ready to charge forward in 2024. If you have not checked out one of my prediction videos, then please do so. 2024 is going to be a very interesting year. It is the pivotal year starting into a new collection. So way back in about 2018, 2019, there was a little bit of talk about how we were heading into there was going to be a 4 years phase and then another 4-year phase, and then we were going to have another 4 years where we're actually moving into the world's going to get better. And where are we now? Well, 2020, 21, I can't even talk. 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023 were one 4-year cycle. And that's when a lot of shadows came to the surface. A lot of shock, things happened in those years that we never thought would happen on Earth. It was just crazy. Now we're in another cycle, 24, 25, 26, 27. And then, so this is 2024 is marking a new year to another 4-year cycle. Now this cycle is going to be not a shock. Well, I don't know, it might be shocking. It's going to be more chaotic as truly things break down. So the first 4 years were kind of like a revealing. Now we're into the chaotic breakdown. And then in 28 moving forward, we're going to be rebuilding a new society. So a new world is going to emerging. So 2024 is the start of this new cycle, and it's going to be all about our finances, what's going on with our financial system. Too much money at the top, not enough money at the bottom. We all know that because most of us are down at the bottom or somewhere near the bottom. We're not one of the 1% elite, which is actually more like it's more like a 0.0001 elite that actually is controlling everything. But that's a whole nother thing. So our money is, the economy is going to be a huge thing. Finances, the rise of Bitcoin, things like that are going to be coming up over the next 4 years, really. But that's all starting this year is to being a higher focus. Our health, a lot of medical breakthroughs coming through. That's exciting, right? Woo! Did you read up over the holidays? They actually made an announcement that they've discovered how to destroy cancer cells without destroying everything else around it. Right? So big breakthroughs on the cancer front just came out over the holidays. But there's going to be lots of medical breakthroughs coming through starting this year at a rapid pace. We're going to hear a lot of that. Our entire healthcare is going to reshape and form itself, which is exciting. Very much over needed, right? Overdue for being needed. And what else is going to do? AI. AI is really going to come into play in 2024. Towards the end of 2024, we're going to be really having to start ask about our morals and what not can we do it? Should we be doing it? Those type of questions are going to become more critical. How is AI going to harmonize with humans? And this. Right now, AI is a tool that's enhancing our life, but towards the end of this year, it's going to start really coming into the front where it's, in a lot of ways, it's another species emerging. And it's going to have, how is it going to coexist with humans? And that's going to be coming into question. So towards the end of the year. So finance, health, AI, and really values. Everybody's going to be wanting to really look at their values. And what do we stand? Standing in our integrity to our values is the most important thing for navigating the next few years. Anyhow, check out the predictions videos, because this was not supposed to be a predictions video. This was supposed to be all about solar flares, because over the holidays, we actually had quite a few. We had some big moon and astrology lineups, but we also had some big solar flares that came through. And particularly on New Year's Eve, there was a massive solar flare that came out. And that particular one is going to hit Earth. Well, it's hitting Earth today as I'm talking to you on January 2nd, Tuesday. Yeah, today is when it was hitting the Earth. And it's hitting the Earth more direct than some of the other flares have. So, and this is really having a strong effect. So anyhow, if it hit me today, I wanted to look in and really understand a little deeper about solar flares. So first of all, I want to say, despite the fact that it seems to be the hot topic on spiritual development, it seems to be the hot topic on social news and everything, it is actually nothing new. Solar flares have been part of the Earth's life cycle forever. It's part of the sun's life cycle. It just naturally happens. It happens approximately every 11 years. The reality is it's actually, they cannot predict it down to an 11 years. That's the average. And it can be on a 9-year cycle or a 14-year cycle. They haven't quite figured out how to determine that. I looked into the space weather. I did all this research on space weather and NASA reports and stuff like that as to what solar and what is it? There was NASA, there was the national weather, there was the space program that I looked at, a few different things to figure out what exactly these solar flares are. So it's a natural cycle of the sun, and what happens is the magnetic poles of the sun every 9 to 14 years, which averages out to every 11 years, that's why they say every 11 years, they switch. And when they're coming up and getting ready to switch, the magnetics of the sun actually reduce, and then it flips and it expands, and the magnetics expand again. And it sends, and this is it's like a pulse if you think about it, right? This is like the pulse that happens, and it affects right out through our it affects the effects of this magnetic boost that comes out from the flip, which is the solar flares, which is it's basically, solar flares are electromagnetics. So it's electricity, it's magnetics, it's plasma that gets shot out into space. And they've tracked it. It actually goes so far out into space, it goes past Pluto. So it has a very large effect on every species out there, not just human. So people, it's not new. It's a part of the natural cycle. So anyway, so that's what a solar flare is this polar switch that happens. And it's a blast of radiation, electromagnetics, plasma that get blasted out. Now, it doesn't always, so the sun bursts this out, but it doesn't always hit Earth directly. I mean, if you think about how big Earth is in relation to the sun and the entire 360 of the sun and where it's shooting out, most of them don't hit Earth, right? Most of it goes outside of the Earth atmosphere. And even when it does come too close to the Earth atmosphere, the Earth atmosphere actually repels a lot of the effect. So solar flares have a much bigger effect on astronauts, space travel, so long distance communications that are all held in the upper realms of our atmosphere and outside of our atmosphere. So yes, if you're asking about alien species and their aircraft, they are aware of solar flares and they do protect themselves from it. It's part of learning about space travel as a species grows. So yes, they do deal with it as well. But here on Earth, so majority of them don't actually hit Earth, but occasionally they do. And so as the magnetic flares increase during that cycle, there's more of them coming off the Earth, and coming off of the sun, and so they do hit the earth. Now, the more directly hit the earth, the bigger the impact they have on the earth. The aurora borealis in the north and the aurora Australia, I think it's called Austria or something like that, which is actually the southern light display that happens, northern lights and the southern lights. That is actually the solar flares. The particles from the solar flare electromagnetic, I'm not a scientist, electromagnetics bouncing off of the different particles of the Earth atmosphere, and it depends what particles it bounces off as to what color it is. Okay, so that's what those are. And so when we have a lot of solar flares happening, we see the auroras at either pole brighter and reaching further down towards the equator, which is what we have happening now. In this cycle right now, we are in the higher maximum peak of it, 24, and I believe it's actually 25 when the solar cycle hits its maximum peak for solar flares. So yes, they have been increasing. They are not going to stop in 2024. We have more of them coming, and 2025, there's a lot of predictions that we're going to see a big one in 2025. Don't know. Now, a lot of people talk about, there's a lot of talk in the spiritual field that a large solar flare is going to hit the earth, and it's going to cause all of humanity to kind of upgrade spiritually, kaboom, like a big wave that hits the world, hits all of humanity, and we're going to wake up and we're all going to be in peace and utopia. I always keep a marginal window open that, hey, that'd be great if it happened. It's not what I'm going to bank my life on. Okay, chances are this is not going to have a big wave hit and we're all going to upload. Chances are what's going to happen is continuing pressure, what's been happening. So how do these flares actually affect us? The first thing is it hits the outer atmosphere. And so that's going to hit our satellites, which are our communication. It's going to be the radio signals, our GPS. So things are going to be affected, our communication, Wi-Fi, electricity grids. The radio signals are interrupted, so GPS is not going to work very well. This is where our technology will glitch. This is what we first noticed. This is the biggest, most agreed upon effect solar flares have. Our technology glitches. Now, we have we're pretty good with our science. We're still in the infant years of science, technology and stuff, but we've come a long way, and generally we don't have mass blackouts anymore. Generally we get glitches. So we get interruptions to our services, interruptions in GPS coordinates being off, interruptions in satellite, so communications, your cell phone, right? It's going to affect your internet, your cell phone. Banks might go down, but they're not going to go down for long. It's not like we're going to have this mass chaos of eruption from society because the banking system has collapsed, right? That's not what actually happens. These are glitches. This is when you go to the bank machine and it doesn't work, or it's telling you the wrong amounts, or it's when your cell phone's not getting reception when it should get reception, or the phone calls get dropped, or you go to sign in online to your bank and you can't sign in. It won't work, right? Or some other website you're trying to sign into, it doesn't work, or even signing onto the internet. Maybe your internet is down. Your TV goes down, like all of those kind of things. That's all from the solar storms and the flares that hit the earth. So that's the first thing that happens. Now, there's a lot of controversy. So first of all, I will say the physical effects on people. So that's where there's a lot of controversy, is do these solar flares affect the human biology? Mainstream media covered reports will say no. They will at most acknowledge that the astronauts will be affected. Okay, and that because they are exposed to higher rates of radiation And that's what they got to worry about. So when a solar flare is coming, it's like everybody get back into the shuttle and protect yourself so that you're not in a compromised position when radiation hits, or if something happens and communications go out, things like that, technology interrupts, right? So obviously astronauts are going to have a lot bigger problem. But I dug deeper to find out, well, what's happening with humans? And so at first everything was telling me, no, it doesn't affect us. Then I started getting in deeper and I started looking into some of the medical reports and doctor studies and things like that. And I'm actually going to include in the comments here a great study that I found that kind of gave me the most clear information for anybody who wants to kind of geek out on the science. So I included that reference in here, but this is just Google. You can Google and go deeper in your Googling and you can confirm everything I'm saying. Because remember, I'm not here to present all the proof to all this stuff. I've already done the proof and satisfied it. I'm just sharing with you all the answers I find to those crazy questions that I have, because I question everything all the time. So that's what I'm sharing with you. You go and do your own research and confirm what I'm saying. If you need to. Otherwise, take my word for it. I don't care. That's up to you. Take it or leave it if it resonates with you, right? That's the line. Take it or leave it if it resonates with you or it doesn't, right? Okay. Anyhow, so how is it affecting humans? Aside from the frustrations of technology. Okay, so what happens? The most people, what you'll hear about is they're feeling more tired. There's an increase in aches and pains in the body. They have foggy thinking. They're distracted thinking. Those are the majority of it. Now, so what I found out. So first of all, I want to talk, you have radiation, you have electromagnetic energy pressing at you. Okay. This can feel like you're in a crowded room, it's a compression feeling that can happen. All right, so feeling like you're in a crowded room. Now, often when you're in a feeling that way, it's because there's earthbound spirits with you and you need to release them. But this is different. This is an energy pressure. So a lot of people will notice that. They will notice mood swings. These are the more subtle ones. They'll be a lot more emotionally sensitive, as well as not as reasonably thinking, which is interesting. So what I've had, so medically what I found out is that the electromagnetics can cause heart palpitations, heart arrhythmia. It can cause an increase in blood pressure. Because it does affect our pump. You know, our heart is the electromagnetic regulator of our bodies. So it kind of makes sense that it's affecting that. So that's physically what can happen. It can also cause inflammation in the body, which is why arthritis, arthritis, osteoporosis, or any autoimmune disease or ailment symptoms can increase. All right, so if you have any kind of autoimmune, anything from arthritis to MS, I think, and overall inflammation, all of that is increased, which is often what's behind the headaches too, is that inflammation increase. So that's what's happening. Now, in the study below, they were also talking about how it interrupts the signal coordination between our right and left brain, particularly affects our right brain, and I couldn't quite figure out why that, but that was interesting. It also is affecting our brain waves. So the connection of neurons firing with each other causes a breakdown in our ability to problem solve. It also our brain frequencies and our heart frequencies, so the brain and heart coherence. I'm trying to work with my own brain functions, which is why this video may not be as clear at the moment, but anyhow. So the heart and brain coherence is out of whack. And so whenever that's out of whack, it's like you're frazzled. There's a sense of being frazzled all the time. Our emotions, so our negative emotions are more heightened. right now because of this out of balance thing. Our inability to problem solve doesn't help that. We actually have a hard time bringing together the whole picture of something, right? Because it's that right and brain connection is not firing as much as it should be. There's also been a few studies that show magnetics in general can affect our eyesight. So it doesn't affect the range of color, but it actually affects the light and darkness that our eyes see. And so that's another thing that can affect us is that, and what it can cause. Okay, so it affects how light and dark affects us, which is part of that tiredness as well. But it also can cause our peripheral vision to see darker or lighter or light flares and things happening on the sides of our eyesight, which I thought that was another. Watch out for nighttime driving can be distorted. Okay, so there can be a mild distortion. Most of these symptoms are very mild. Okay, these symptoms are not amplified where you're like destroyed and dysfunctional. It's just, you can still go through your day at work. It just is going to be a little harder day type of thing because you don't have the problem solving abilities. You're emotionally more sensitive. And your eyesight might be slightly off. You might have heart palpitations, things like that. So those are kind of some of the basics. And I'm just looking at my notes at the same time. I'm just making sure. Okay, so that's kind of all the symptoms that I wanted to talk about. So there's how it's affecting us physically, how it's affecting us emotionally and physically in our bodies. Now, I want to talk to you about spiritually how it's affecting us. So it's definitely, our biology is completely intertwined with our spiritual ability. We are going through an ascension period where we are shifting and developing our bodies to allow more of our soul energy into our human body, giving us the resources to take a greater control over our circumstances. So we're actually being pushed to be more responsible for what we produce in the world, what we do, what frequent vibration we hold in this world. Okay, so we all know that because that's what I talk about all the time. So if we stop and we think about this, the electromagnetics are hitting our body. This is actually going to hit our cells, and it's going to cause our cells to kind of shift and frazzle themselves. Like that frequency variation is going to cause negative emotions to come to this area, but it's also with that is going to be a chemical release that'll happen because emotions are chemicals in our body. Right? So there's going to be a cellular movement there, a release there. This is part of the upgrading that's going on. So it's not that that's necessarily causing the upgrade, but it's certainly presenting an opportunity for us to bring things to the surface for us to heal. Okay? So if you are emotional, irrational, having trouble thinking, then meditation is going to be a really good one for you. And it should be a meditation where you're going in, and actually this can work for physically as well, but going in and asking your body what needs to be healed, what emotion needs to be released, what story needs to be rewritten or reframed into a different way. It's journaling would be great on getting some of this. If you're not able to actually process it right now, making journal listing of the stuff that you're feeling and going through will give you something to work with in a few days when your system's calmed down and you're thinking clear and emotionally rational again. So definitely make a list and write this down. But looking at what needs to be healed, it could be a present life thing, could be a past life thing, but it's probably based in a program or a belief or an illusion that you have as to how the world is. So we want to see what is coming up that is causing us to view the world in a negative way. Because that's what we want to clear is the lens that we view the world through we want to clear that up and heal it so that we can see through a positive lens and find solutions and growth and love and harmony and unity. So as you're going through this, if you're feeling these things right now, look at where this is coming from. Now, when it comes to the physical pain, I've been kind of working at researching a little deeper into this and trying to understand a little deeper as to what the physical pain is and why we can experience so much physical pain and do all this spiritual work and emotional work and everything to try and heal things and think positive and change our frame of reference, but still not being able to clean up the pain that may be in the body, right? This is especially with chronic pain. Now, there's a couple things that can cause it. One thing is if we're spiritually high and disconnected from our physical body, there becomes this stretch factor, and I've talked about that in other videos as well, this stretch factor between our spiritual selves and our human selves. And if that's too far of a stretch, our actions and our spiritual awareness, then that can actually cause a lot of energy jam up, basically blockages and disconnection in the physical body, which will cause pain, all right, disease in the body. The other thing that I'm finding that can cause disease is your cells you're not hearing the messages that your body is telling you. So really tune into what it is the cells of your body are asking for. Okay, are they asking for more nutrition? Are they asking for a support in some way? Are they asking to have, maybe there's a trauma held in the body that needs to be processed and released. Remember, traumas are held through chemistry, which is physical pain in the body. It can cause physical pain. So don't be afraid to look at that. Ask your pain what its message is. What does it want you to know and understand and either provide for it or reframe and release and heal from? I hope that made a little sense and helped you in processing it. I think that's all I wanted to say on the subject. I am myself affected by the solar flares. I've had a headache all day. I've had quite a bit of aches and pains going on, and I'm having a little bit of trouble keeping my own train of thought going. But I think I covered it. I think I got to say what I wanted to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Help me get my numbers up so that I can provide more information like this. So if you have any questions or anything, please put them in the comments, and you can send me a message. Email is always great. Book a discovery session with me. And if you need a little help processing the healing journey, reach out to me and I'll help you through the Akashic Records. I'll help you with coaching you through it. I'll help with you coordinate with your heart, get into heart and brain coherence. I mean, these are all the techniques that I work clients with, and then I've got more that I work through things with too. Anyhow, love you all. Welcome to 2024. This is exciting days. Keep your focus on the ascension and the new world that is emerging. I promise you, we are going in fantastic directions. Yes, mainstream keep in mind, negativity is louder. Doesn't mean it's stronger, because it's not. Positive things that are going on, positive people, greater movements of love, they're not loud. Right? They're just not loud. But there's more of us. There's far more movement towards love and light and peace and harmony and joy, and a new world is emerging, and it is a fantastic one. Look for the signs. And one of my things that I'm dedicating myself to this year is to shine light more on the positive things that are happening. Okay. And yeah, there we go. Anyhow, subscribe, like, love you all. See you later.